It's time, Math Marvels. It's me, Sarah Fuentes, and today we're going to solve two-step equations by putting it all together. Distributing, inverse operations, combining like terms. We're doing it all. Things are getting really spicy now in 8th grade because we have equations that have tons of operations, and we've been leveling up each time, just level up. So what I'm going to talk about today as we model, I want you to see how I think through the problem, and rather than see this and getting like filled with anxiety and worry and doubt in ourselves, I want you to just stop and just think for a minute about everything that you've learned how to do. And yes, this may be hard, but it's just another challenge, and challenges have solutions. That's what I want you to think about as you're working through here. We're just going to think logically, because once we get scared, it makes it really hard to do these problems. So the first thing you're going to see me do as I work through this is I'm going to think, is there a way that I can make this friendlier? There's a whole lot. And how can I make this into a friendlier problem? And the answer is I'm going to combine like terms. I'm going to look to see if I can make it fewer terms by looking at the problem. And as I write through, as I worked it out, I can see that I have tons of terms that I can combine. So I have 6x plus 60 minus 18 plus 48 is equal to 360. So I'm going to take all of these over here and I can combine them together. So 60 minus 18 is 42. 42 plus 48 is just going to be 90. So look at that. I'm just going to simplify this to 6x plus 90 is equal to 360. And boom, now this looks like a two-step equation just like in our last lesson. So even though there were tons of operations happening there, by just doing one simple step combining, I've created a simpler problem to solve. Now going through this part, we're going to use our inverse operation again. Again, we're going to start with our constant term, our 90. So we have plus 90. We're going to do the opposite, which is to subtract 90. And again, subtract 90 on both sides for symmetry and for balance. On my left, I just have 6x. And on my right, I have 270. Now I'm down to just one operation. 6 times a number. The opposite is divided by a number. So 6 times x, well, x divided. I'm just going to divide by 6. That's the opposite. And again, symmetry on both sides. I'm left with 1x. And on the other side, you can take out your calculators and check it. 270 divided by 6 is going to give me 45. Nice, easy solution. So yeah, it was super tough in the beginning, wasn't it? It looked like a lot. But now this looks a lot easier to do. So I'm going to go back and add it to my original operation. So let's do a check in blue. So just checking. And now I have 60 plus 6 times 45 minus 18 plus 48. And we know all this is going to be equal to 360. So let's simplify this out. 60 plus 6 times 45 is just going to give us 270 minus 18 plus 48. Use your calculators and we can go from left to right if you'd like. So here, 60 plus 270 is 330. So 330 minus 18 plus 48. 330 minus 18. So yeah, we're just doing it piece by piece. It's long, it's an endurance, but don't worry about it. 330 will give us 312 plus 48, and that does give us 360 on both sides of the equation. So yes, this is a valid solution. And there you go. So big takeaways. Ultimately, what are the things I really want you to notice? 1, look to see if there are any places to combine like terms. Look to see, because if we can combine like terms, we can make it into a much simpler equation. to solve. And then use what you already know, inverse operations, in order to solve the problem, to get it to a simple x equals one number, one term. And as always, we check our work. Use your calculators wisely as you're working through the problem. Make sure that whatever you were thinking or whatever you're working out on your tool, you are also capturing on your page. So hit pause, jot this down in your notes. Awesome. We're going to do one more together. And again, spicy. What makes this spicy? The fact that I have some decimals and we have some fractions. So again, it's a challenge, Math Marbles. It looks ugly. It looks like it's anxiety producing, like you can't do this, but it is just a challenge. So again, first, just look. Are there any terms that we can combine? Yes. 3 2/10 and 4. So let's do that. 3 2/10 plus 4 is just going to give us 7 2/10 minus 1/2 x is equal to 6 7/10. Second tip, just like in 7th grade, let's do apples to apples. Let's either make all of these fractions or all of these decimals, and I think I know which one we want to do. Let's just change everything to decimals because it's easier for us to work out. And let's change that 1/2 into 0.5. There we go. Now we're going to use the inverse operations. We're going to subtract. This will cancel out. And okay, so a little spicy on the side, but again, pick up your calculators. And what is 6 7/10 minus 7 2/10? You're going to end up with a negative number. Matter of fact, you're going to end up with negative 0.5. So negative 0.5x is equal to negative 0.5. So what's our last step? We're going to divide on both sides. And that's going to give us 1x on this side and 1 on the other. X is equal to 1. So kind of seems amazing, doesn't it? How can this possibly be true? So let's check our work. I'm going to use a different pen again, pen color, so we can check. And we have 3.2 minus 0.5 plus 4 is equal to 6 7/10. Now we can just use our order of operations and go from left to right. 3 2/10 minus 5/10 is 2 7/10 plus 4 is equal to 6 7/10. And 2 7/10 plus 4 is 6 7/10. It is equal to 6 7/10. We are correct. So there you have it, Math Marbles. We take a challenge and we just use our math sense to just figure it out piece by piece. Starting off with, can we combine any like terms to make it into a simpler equation with fewer terms? And then just use your math knowledge and thinking. If you're uncomfortable with fractions, we can change them to decimals. And in this case, having everything as a decimal made it easier to solve. And we have our tools to help us. So as we're using our inverse operations, we're thinking logically and making sure that we're checking and recording our work step by step. And as always, checking our final answer to make sure our solution is valid. So there you have it. Even when you have equations with tons of terms, we can still figure out the solution by accepting as a challenge and doing it piece by piece. Great job today, and I will see you in the next lesson.